So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to, which is slowly getting towards the end of the year, one of our Insights and Innovation series. And today we've got a special one with Imparja. The IMAA's got a pretty special relationship with the Imparja. They're a fellow non-for-profit, to say one thing, but also not only they're a quality station and a quality place to find eyeballs, but also they do some pretty good work as well. So today I'm about to introduce you to Chris Williams, who is, some of you might know him as Biff. From a few years ago. I think he's worked around some of the metropolitan markets, and like many of the guys from Imparja have found their way to a special place called Alice Springs to work out of. So he's going to talk to you about some of the opportunities out there from an audience point of view, and also the Make a Difference program, which we're part of. The Make a Difference program, all IMAA members who spend with Imparja, 10% of that goes towards our charity or our cause that we've selected, which is the King's Narrative, which is a very, very special program, which Biff will talk about shortly. But without further ado, I'll introduce Chris Williams. Over to you, mate.
Thanks, Sam. I'm Chris. Hi, everyone. I'm the sales manager here at Imparja. I'm based in Alice Springs. I've been here for about 11 and a half years, and just a really quick going backwards from there. I was at Channel 7 Melbourne from 1985 to 1998, which is where I ran into people like Mobber and Ken Mackey, etc. I then worked with NBN Newcastle. I've worked with Win NBN Sales, and I came to Alice Springs to Imparja in 2011. So I've been here just over 11 years. Alistair Feehan, who's our CEO, him and I worked together he was at Channel 7 also in the 80s and 90s. So we've known each other a really long time, and that's enough about my background. I'll just give you a bit of an overview of Imparja. Basically, we're Channel 9 in Central Australia, and it's as simple as that. We run the Channel 9 schedule. We don't do much other than what they send down the chute to us. So whatever you see on Channel 9, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth, or any other regional market, that's what we run. We run the block, we run the NRL, we run news, current affair, 60 minutes, etc., etc. So from a program point of view, our audience are no different to anyone else. They've got two arms, two legs, one head, and they pretty much watch the same things. And unfortunately, the reality is because of the geographics of our footprint, we cover more than half of Australia geographically, but we've only got about 1 million viewers. Well, not only 1 million's a lot of people, but just one thing I'll tell you, that for every person that lives in our footprint, there are 26 cows. We're outnumbered by the cows 26 to 1, so we've got to be a bit careful with that. What that means geographically is to run surveys it would send us broke. So we haven't done a survey in, I think it's now 14 years. But I think it's fair to say that things that work well in other markets are going to work well with us. What I tend to do is I use a lot of our direct response people as a sort of ad hoc rating system. I know, people like Digital Camera Warehouse, people like Viking Cruises, who it's, they go online, buy a ticket, buy this, buy that. They let me know what does and doesn't work. So you get a bit of a feel for it over the years. So we sort of keep our clients let us know, particularly direct response clients. Global Shop Director have been with us for a long time. And, the ones that are with us tend to stay with us. We have a pretty good mix of clients. We do very well with cars, because cars in our footprint do a lot of kilometres in really short periods of time, and they have to get changed over really quick smart. We're the number one, the Toyota dealership in Alice Springs is the number one Hilux dealership in Australia. They sell more Hiluxes than any other metropolitan or regional market. The KFC in Alice Springs is the number one store in Australia. And I'll tell you, part of the reason why is the Indigenous people love KFC. And the reason they love it is because it's meat off the bone. All other fast food, takeaway food is hamburgers, pizzas, whatever, but KFC actually comes with the bones in it and whatever, and they just love it. It's an enormously successful. In fact, he applied for a he applied for a Michelin star a couple of years ago. The guy that runs KFC, not based necessarily on the quality of the food, but on the volume of turnover that he does. So. He had a lot of trouble keeping up with the getting chickens into Alice Springs during COVID, as did most people. Pretty much all of our produce comes in via train or truck, Woolies, Coles. A lot of it comes up on the GAN. I don't know if you're familiar with the GAN. It's a bloody great big long train, but 2/3 of it is produce. The first third is carriages with people in sleepers sleeping and having a nice time. Then after that, it's all cars, refrigerated grocery items, etc., etc. So and we get a pretty good mix of clients. We don't get as many clients. By the way, if anyone wants to butt in, just do so. If you've got a question as I go along, just jump in and ask me. But we get a pretty good mix of clients. Like I said, we do very well out of cars. We do very well out of travel. Travel's really good for us because most people that live here want to be somewhere else, particularly if it's got ocean involved. Like Viking Cruises have been with us for nearly 10 years now, because when you live in, the only water we really see is either in the toilet or the sink. So, anything that's got a big boat out to sea, it's like, oh wow, doesn't that look good? And a lot of people, they love to travel. So we do very well in the travel sector. We do very well. Supermarkets do very well for us. We carry all the major supermarkets: Coles, Woolworths, IGA. The IGA supermarkets in our footprint are all indigenously owned. They're owned by Aboriginal corporations. And we've got 5 of them in Alice Springs, and they all do very well. People shop a little bit differently here. We've got, where I am in Alice Springs. And by the way, don't think of Imparja as Alice Springs TV. Alice Springs is about 4% of the total audience of Imparja. I'll just give you a quick map to show you where we actually go for those that don't know. I'm just going to see if I can do this thing right. I think it's a window. There it is. Oh, share. That'll help. Has that come up? Oh, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at that. That's our footprint, the red bits. So we go through all of the Northern Territory with the exception of Darwin. We go through all the northern parts of South Australia. Most of our audience is actually in Western Queensland. If we were to build this station according to where our audience falls, we'd probably be somewhere around Mount Isa. We go through northwestern New South Wales, parts of northern Victoria, and we also go along the west coast of Tasmania. So that's sort of where we go. We've got 1 million people, but they're sort of scattered far and wide. What's interesting about our footprint, the biggest single group of that audience would be Alice Springs, which is about 24,000. And then we go to Mount Isa, which is about 21,000. And then we don't have a single town that's got more than 10,000 people. We go to places like Katherine, Tennant Creek, etc. But what that does is it affects the way people shop. We do a lot of online delivery. A lot of our stuff is done online. A lot of our stuff. You go to the Alice Springs post office any day of the week, and they are queued up around the corner picking up the stuff they've ordered online. So anyone that markets online, we're a pretty good market. Global Shop, as I mentioned earlier, they've been with us for a really long time. They do very well. We've also had Danons, we've had brand developers, and anyone that markets that way, or where you actually make the purchase online, they do really well. We've got most of the major retailers. We've got Kmart, we've got Target, we've got Telstra shops, we've got Brumbies, we've got what else? We've got the Nationals, KFC, McDonald's, Hungry Jack's. So most of the major brands here, not all of them, but a lot of them are. And as much as we do in the community, we're not looking for donations. We don't expect people to put money on our station and not get a return on it. But if you haven't used us before, we're certainly worth a crack, and we will do everything we can, not just for existing, but particularly for new clients. We will give your schedule every opportunity we can to make it work. So, in summary, 1 million viewers, Channel 9 programming, and that's probably, that's a good enough reason for anyone to give us a go, I would think.
There's just a quick question that's popped up in the chat is, can you buy sub-markets?
No. Quick answer. Quick answer. But look, our viewers are used to that. Like I'll go home tonight and watch Imparja, and I'll see ads for, a jewellery shop in Mount Isa, and I don't care how cheap their chains are. I'm not driving 2,000 kilometres to buy them. But our viewers are used to that. they're used to seeing stuff. I was on my way to Port Lincoln a couple of weeks ago. I was in Coober Pedy, and I was just overnighting on the way to Port Lincoln. And, you know, our view is it's almost like you sort of wait for the ads that are relevant to you. Some of them are relevant to the whole footprint. The cars are, the fast foods are, the national brands generally are. But the local retail stuff, you know, people are just used to the fact that they're going to see stuff from all over our footprint. So it doesn't really, you know, and we will also make adjustments to our pricing and our schedules. If you've only got, you know, exposure in the territory part of our footprint or the Queensland part of our footprint or whatever, you know, we're pretty agile in the way we put our schedules together. We make allowances for all those things. What makes us quite unique is what happens to the money that you invest when you buy advertising on Imparja. Two things about Imparja. One, we're a not-for-profit organisation. And two, we are 100% Aboriginal or Indigenous owned. Our board actually prefers the word Aboriginal rather than Indigenous, because Indigenous just means local to a region. Aboriginal means Aboriginal. So any funds that we, you know, don't need for our operational costs, we invest into our footprint in all sorts of areas. It could be in Indigenous health, Indigenous, you know, we've done things like put money into the kids' wards at the hospitals here, and we've done sporting events, you know, uniforms, whatever. In the case of IMAA, we've identified the King's Narrative project. What King's Narrative is, it's an Aboriginal run and operated and owned project to try and link back Aboriginal youth with their culture and with their families. And I'll just give you a little bit of background on why that's important. There's a lot of problems all through our footprint with Aboriginal youth at the moment. Crime is out of control, break and enters, car thefts, whatever. The way the policing works is if someone, and we had 2 cars stolen and driven around town last week. One was a Hilux, I can't remember what the other one was. One was being driven by an 11-year-old, and the other one was driven by a 14-year-old. And they break into places, steal the car keys, hoon around town. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, the reality is the rules are, or the police rules are, if they arrest someone who's 15 years old or younger, they cannot arrest them, they cannot hold them, they have to return them to the family. What happens then, and what happened with both these cases last week, they take them back to where the family are. The family aren't there, they're out doing something else. So they just have to let them go. And so those kids that they've stolen a car one night are back doing the same thing the next night. So there's not a lot of consequences in that way. So the law and order model is fairly limited in what it can do. What is much more effective is to try and link back the cultural connections that exist in Aboriginal Australia, and that's what King's Narrative does. It's a way of getting, for those who know much at all about Aboriginal culture, their culture is passed down father to son, mother to daughter, etc., etc. They have ceremonies when the kids get to about 14 or 15 years of age where they transition from being a child into being an adult, and there are things they do. They take them out bush, they learn how to hunt, they learn how to fish, they learn how to do all sorts of things. That process, I won't say it doesn't exist anymore, but it doesn't exist to the level that it used to and the level that it needs to. So King's Narrative is one of the areas where we're helping to strengthen and grow that process, because it's just a much more effective way of addressing the problem than the traditional law and order methods that we're used to. The guy that runs it is an Aboriginal man. He gets young boys in. This one's for young boys, and teaches them about their culture and helps them to reconnect with their elders and their family and whatever, to hopefully make them, you know, more better traditional citizens in the way that their elders have been. He needs funds to do that. You know, they're not the kids that live. It's not like in, you know, maybe where a lot of you are, where it's, you know, your neighbours are 3 doors down and your neighbours are, you know, across the street. This can be kids from 500, 1,000 kilometres away. You know, if it's, say it's a thing that happens in Alice Springs, if it's a young boy that's identified who lives in Tennant Creek, well, that's 450 kilometres north of Alice Springs. If it's a young boy that lives in Katherine, it's then 1,200. So there were significant costs in getting the project up and running, and then you've got to feed and accommodate and all those sorts of things. So far through this project, through IMAA, we've processed bookings of $143,000 from a range of clients, and of that, 10% of those funds have gone directly or going directly to King's Narrative. So that's $14,500, or call it $15,000, which is a lot of money and will make a difference. It really will make a difference. I don't know, Sam, if you wanted to throw anything into the mix there.
Yeah, I would just say that I think we've had as well, outside of that, I think we've had 3 agencies who are looking at making direct donations as well to them.
Yep.
It's such a powerful, and as an association, we looked for 2.5 years and were guided by Imparja and a guy called Paul Ache up there, who's and we looked for 2 years about what the most appropriate thing was to do that we can actually tangibly make differences, and these guys kept on coming up. So we're so proud to to support Tyson and the King's Narrative. He actually got nominated for Australian of the Year just last week. He's quite a special human being. So not only the money that we've got coming in, going direct to Imparja, people are also making direct donations, and well as I will just pull this down. Well, we're also giving bush medicine to all of our partners as well, who support the IMAA, made by the young guys out there, to help support them as well at the end of the year as Christmas gifts. But over to you, Biff.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, look, and the thing is too, just so there's no grey areas on this, this is not 10% on top of what you spend. It's 10% that we take out of your advertising revenue. So if you spend 10 grand with us, you get a $10,000 schedule. If you spend 100 grand, you get a lot of love from me for a start. But, you spend 100 grand, you get 10 grand out of that schedule. You still get the full amount of your airtime value, and then we take that 10% out of the advertising budget, but we don't diminish the actual advertising spend at all. And as Sam said, it makes it really does make a difference. It's it's a very hands-on type of thing. It's not like some sort of seminar or project or whatever. It's actually getting young boys, troubled youths, out of the bush and out of town here and out of town camps and our communities, because some of these guys, they have some really horrendous upbringings. We hear some, I don't want to freak anyone out, but we get people we get 8-year-olds at our hospital here with venereal diseases, because they've been abused by oftentimes other people in their communities and whatever. So they're pretty traumatized, some of these kids. So you've basically got to, what Tyson's really good at is just going down to their level and then bringing them up again. And the whole purpose of the project is that at the end of it, they become, better citizens, much more in touch with their own culture, and the ability to pass that on to others. So it's like a domino effect, if you like. So it's a really worthwhile. I mean, I've worked, as I said, I worked at Channel 7 Melbourne. I worked for people like bloody, Christopher Skase and Kerry Stokes, and it's just the culture at this station is so different because of the fact that we are Aboriginal owned and the fact that we are a not-for-profit. It's really, I've been in this industry for nearly 30-something years, and the culture that comes with working for a not-for-profit is very different, and it's a really nice, measurable thing to do. You can actually, our money did this. You can actually say, we did this commercially, it achieved this, but on top of that, it also achieved that. And we're able to give feedback on, all of the outcomes that are associated with this project. I'll just show you, I just wanted to show you a couple of ads, just to give you an idea of the sort of commercials, just to backtrack a little bit, that do work really well in our footprint. The first one I'm going to show you.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I live in Outback, New South Wales.
Hang on. If you think about what your product is, some stuff works really, really well with us. I'm just going to, where are we? Share screen. We know it's this one. Just have a look at this one.
go share.
Share. Right, here we go.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I live in outback New South Wales and I do a lot of driving. I really love the Easy Jack because if you get a flat tyre, it's so simple to use. Just put it under your car, press a button, and up your car goes. It's also got a rattle gun, which will loosen the tightest of the wheel nuts even after it's been into a tyre shop. And the added bonus is if you get a puncture, it's got an air compressor, so you can just pump it up and then drive to your local tyre shop and let them change it. It's affordable, safe, and really, really easy to use. Before you use your Easy Jack, check your car manual as to where to put it. You can find more information and purchase the Easy Jack from our website.
That is probably as good a commercial as you'll ever get for our footprint. It's a great product. It's well suited to the long distances that people travel. That commercial cost $2,000 to make, by the way. We also have production facilities at Imparja. So if you've got a product, that you're not necessarily advertising anywhere else, but you think, gee, that actually might fit well in Imparja, we can make the ad for you. We don't make, we haven't won any golden lions or anything, but we make effective ads that do well. And I'll just show you another one, which is, where is it? This is actually a Sydney-based business, the Digital Camera Warehouse. People in our footprint love to go out bush and take photos and stuff. Why wouldn't you?
For 21.
Hang on. So you get it back to the start. So this business, I think they're actually based in Bankstown or somewhere like that. But they've been with us for about 7 or 8 years, and it goes really, really well. And a lot of it's about the method of, go online, do this, do that. Just have a quick look at it. Digital Camera Warehouse, there it is.
For 21 years, Digital Camera Warehouse has been bringing big city deals to regional Australia. To celebrate our 21st, we are giving our customers a free gift with their selected purchase. From extended warranties and travel vouchers to one-on-one photography coaching, here's your chance to be rewarded when you purchase selected items from these major brands. We also offer free shipping for orders over $99. Capture the moment with us and visit our website to find out more.
That ad also has gone really well. By the way, that commercial, $900. We made that commercial for $900. They provided all the images and whatever, so it was really just an edit job. But worked really well. They've got a really good delivery system. People can easily buy the stuff they see on the ad by just going online, whatever. So, just give a little bit of thought. And even if you want to give me a call and just say, look, this is the product, what do you reckon? I'm reasonably honest. I'll let you know if I think it's got some legs or not. I don't really have much more, Sam. I don't know if there's anything more I need to.
That's all right, mate. No, look, thank you very much for sharing. We'll give everyone a little bit of time back this morning. Biff, thank you for sharing the Imparja story. There's an audience out there. There's eyeballs out there. It's affordable, and the 10% of it goes to a really, really good cause. So just something for everyone to consider. Thank you, everyone. Again, just reminding everyone about the Pulse survey. Next week, we've got the trade desk coming up as we're getting closer towards the end of the year. Thank you for your time. Have a great rest of the week. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Biff. Thank you, Imparja.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Biff. Cheers, mate.